buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one lives countries. Laugh to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social side, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one leaves countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Hey, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens, and it is March the 22nd, 2016. And I think we have a new budget here in Canada. Not 100% sure. I just saw that. And so we'll take a quick move. I see here that the ex-mayor of Toronto, Rob Ford, has passed away. Some people really loved him. Some people really disliked him. You know, who knows? You know, he was a different politician. Maybe he was actually an honest politician. Who knows? But he's passed away now. And so... you know, to his family. We're sorry he lost a loved one. And it's always difficult. Anybody's lost a loved one knows how difficult that can be. So, you know, thoughts with the Ford family in their time of grief. And I'm not going to spend too much time on that. He was closer to, I can figure, he was closer to the people, I guess, than most politicians. And he kind of run by his own deal. Probably the only, I don't know if it's true or not, but probably the only mayor of Toronto that ever made it onto American talk shows and American comedy shows and that. But he was more, I don't think he was quite as phony as most politicians seem to have. He seemed to care about people more than politics. And in the end, I think that's what killed his political career. Knife came out on him pretty hard. So now Toronto is a new mayor, John Tory. John Tory used to be the provincial conservative leader. I met that guy once, a bit of a dick. Big in Rogers, he's quite wealthy with shares in Rogers, who is basically taken over an awful lot of the cable companies and the media and all that kind of stuff. I forget how many magazines Rogers kicks out, but it's a ton of them. So that's your new mayor. Anyways, I'm going to get back to, I see something here that we had, Where did I see that? Where the hell? Oh, highlights for the 2016 federal budget here. Let's see, $290 billion spending plan rises to $323 billion 5 years out. And its lofty goal is to give a bold, transformative kickstart to a sluggish Canadian economy. Well, you can spend all the freaking money you want on the economy, but if you don't make anything, you ain't going to have much of an economy, are you? You see, we weren't in the hole too much when we used to manufacture something in this country. We have more natural resources per capita than anywhere on the frickin' planet. But we lived through the public-private partnerships, the privatization of our utilities and that, our schools, our hospitals, everything's been privatized if it isn't already. And we got hammered with this free trade thing till it made everybody want to puke. Canadians don't need these dirty manufacturing jobs, they said a long time ago, because, well, we're going into the technology business and everybody will be retrained and work shorter hours and get better paychecks and work in clean jobs. And we'll send all your jobs that you're presently working at as far east as we possibly can until we can find the absolute cheapest manufacturing on the planet. And then, well, you'll be in the technology business. Oops, wait a minute. You're still not competitive. Let's send all your technology jobs to, oh, I don't know, India. Let's do that. The Philippines and where not. So now we're down to what we don't really do anything here. We push paper around, but we really don't do anything here. We don't manufacture anything. My little town that I'm in used to have 2 furniture plants. The little place up the road had a furniture plant. We had a salt block here. We had a brick company here that manufactured bricks a long time ago. And the communities used to make most of what they needed within fairly close proximity to where they lived. That's what they called sustainable development, or they didn't call it. That's what it was. Now sustainable development is to send our resources to China and have the slave workers over in China do what we used to do locally. Now they tell us that, you need to grow your food local. It costs too much to transport it in. You should make everything local because, well, it's just hard on the environment to be shipping stuff around the globe. These are the same people that are shipping it around the globe. The hypocrisy is over the top. And so they're going to bring us a budget. Jam us in the hole another $1/3 trillion or better. We're already broke. I get a kick out of California whining and bitching and complaining about Brown down there. Oh my God, California's $127 billion in the hole. What kind of spendthrift jackass have we got here running the state? Well, California has more people in it than the entire country of Canada, and you're only $127 billion in the hole. You ought to be proud of yourselves. Canada's about $1 trillion in the hole, and there's less people in the country than there is in California. 38 million people in California, 35 million people in the entire country of Canada. You can pick up California, drop it out of an airplane, and land in Canada. We ain't likely going to trip over the damn thing. That's how big this country is. Meanwhile, Ontario, is in the hole some $300 billion. We're lucky if there's 15 million people living here. And again, you could take California and throw it over into Ontario and we probably wouldn't find it for a while. Ontario's a hell of a big province. I don't know what's wrong with the Canadian people. They've been stupefied to the point where they wear loafers because they can't tie their shoes anymore. Most of them, anyways. They send their children to the schools where they're vaccinated. Well, they're vaccinated long before they go to school. The child's been turned into a pincushion for the pharmaceutical companies who want to, what? Depopulate the world and want to turn your children into transgendered nutcases who want to sterilize your children any way they can. And so the parents just keep taking the kids over to the white coats, and the white coats keep jamming needles in the little kids. The ones that are lucky don't have mentally trashed or dead, but the others are stupefied. And you put your children in the school system to be traumatized, mesmerized, socialized, demonized, basically destroyed. Oh, Canada, our home and native land. We're proud of where we live. We've got a maple leaf. We're free citizens of a free, independent country, say the Canadians. Of course, nothing could be farther from the truth. But there's one thing Canadians can't deal with very well, and that's the truth. And it really is pathetic to watch. As their hydro bells soar through the clouds, they don't notice that the clouds aren't clouds anymore. Water bills going through the ceiling, taxes going through the ceiling, cost of getting your license, insurance, and everything just going through the ceiling as they're picking your pockets clean. And I don't know what day it's going to be, but it's going to be a day. Once they start spending this last batch of money they don't have, somewhere down there, them interest rates are going to rise. They've kept them interest rates low longer than I thought they were going to, but they want to make sure that everybody's sufficiently indebted. People don't even worry about it anymore. Interest is so cheap, we just go borrow some more money. Well, the day's coming, my friends, when they're going to jack that up. And when they jack that up, it's going to kind of look like America did in 2008 when everybody got chucked out of their houses. And they are going to try and chuck you out of your house. Because what's not sustainable? Private property. So they're coming at you. They're coming at you hard now. People still hanging on to and squeezing tight the fantasy world that they're living in. Not wanting to deal with reality at all. To deal with reality would force someone to actually think. Well, that's pretty much banned in this country. You're not allowed to think here. You just suck up the propaganda and go with the flow. Now, we've got a prime minister who used to be, his resume reads real good for a prime ministership. You are on the ship's upside down. Time to rock the boat, boys and girls, and get the ship righted. Got to get out of this fantasy world. We got a fantasy puppet prime minister here who is, if I was going to, if you were going to get a job running a country, you would think if you handed in a resume that said, well, I was a snowboarder, A, and I taught snowboarding, A, and there was this guy, because I speak not that good English. Sometimes I do, but most of the times I don't. I got a bit of a lisp. But then I go to the gay parade. I'd be the very first prime minister to go to the gay parade here in Canada. Did I mention that I used to work on a whitewater rafting company? Yeah, I did that too. And generally hung out, and, well, I really don't know much about anything, but I sent in my resume, and I think that I would make a very good prime minister. Not. But this is who we got. And it's exactly what the globalists want. A stupid, stupid, stupid pretty boy who will go to the gay pride parades and who will talk up transgendered washrooms like they're a good thing and push the vaccines like they're necessary. And at the same time, suck up to Israel. And at the same time, hang out with the Islamic State. Everything that's not supposed to be what this nation is supposed to be, he endorses. Everything that this nation is supposed to be, he looks down upon. But then he is a progressive, whatever that might mean. He's a very dangerous man because he's a fool. And people discuss this like he knows what the hell he's talking about. He doesn't know anything about anything. And that's the way they like it. Now, let me go back to this thing for a minute. We have a rookie, apparently. Finance Minister Bill Morneau's rookie budget is a 269-page volume, just over half the size of the Conservative government's last budget. It's a $290 billion spending plan, rising to $325 billion 5 years out. And its lofty goal is to give a bold, transformative kickstart to a sluggish Canadian economy. It promises money. Oh, well, we like that. We're Canadians. Free money. We like free money here in Canada. And it does promise money for low and middle class families with children. It promises money for Aboriginal communities. It promises money for the seniors. It promises money for the transit riders and money for the unemployed workers and students. It promises money for everyone who's not producing something. Wait a minute. Who's going to pay for this? Oh, the guys that are still working? Uh-oh. Well, I guess you better be ready to line up for some of that free money, because you're going to need it. Families with children, a total of $3.74 billion in new and tweaked tax measures aimed at the middle classes, and families with children, including the introduction of the Canada Child Benefit. You can read more here. I'm not going to right now. Seniors, $3.4 billion over 5 years to increase guaranteed income supplement top-up benefits for low-income seniors. The government restore the eligibility it says age of old age security, to 65. Indigenous people. Now, you guys are doing real good. So far, the families with children get 3.74. The seniors get 3.4. Indigenous people, you're going to do pretty good on this one. A total of $3.74 billion over 5 years to improve education, build new schools, strengthen the child welfare system, housing, water, wastewater treatment facilities, including $40 million over 2 years towards a national inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Now, I like this because $40 million over 2 years towards the national inquiry into the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Now, who's going to get all this money? The lawyers. And who writes all this crap that enslaves us? The lawyers. It's a beautiful system. Culture and Arts is going to get $1.9 billion over 5 years to support Canadian arts and cultural organizations and cultural infrastructure, including $675 million over 5 years for the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation and its French arm, Radio-Canada, and $550 million to Canada Council for the Arts over 5 years. Veterans will be getting $5.6 billion over 6 years to increase disability awards for injured veterans and to enhance other financial benefits. In addition, the Liberals will reopen Veteran Services Office that had been closed by the Conservatives. Well, that's bloody wonderful. Climate change and air pollution. See, I just got to back up to the veterans for a bit, okay? Now, you see, we send people, as do the Americans, and that they send people overseas to go fight in really politically based banker wars for the benefit of corporations, Canada being a corporation. Now, people I think they're getting over it finally. They think that they're going to war to either protect this country or to take on so-called, I don't know, dictators, terrorists, tyrannical governments and stuff like that, when in fact their government is all of those things. So we really don't need $5.6 billion over 6 years to increase disability awards. What we got to do is quit sending people somewhere to go get them shot up and disabled. I'm a firm believer in defense. But since I've been on the planet, I haven't seen anybody come after us. So therefore, we just have to mind our own business. And if we minded our own business, then we wouldn't have all of these busted up people and dead people. So if you're a veteran, don't get too happy about what they're doing here. So we're basically hush money. Climate change and air pollution gets $3 billion over 5 years, in addition to a number of infrastructure-focused spending on both mitigating the effects of climate change and adapting to its realities. Now that's interesting. Adapting to the realities of climate change. Well, the reality of climate change, it's a complete and total concocted, coercive fraud. So I don't know how you adapt to its realities because it ain't real. So I don't know. There goes $3 billion out the window that you're going to pay for. Post-secondary education, $2 billion over 3 years to support infrastructure projects at post-secondary institutions, an additional $95 million per year on an ongoing basis to granting councils the highest amount of new annual funding for discovery research in more than a decade. Right. Now, what I would like to see them spend some money on is baseball bats. Because I don't know if it's in every school, but I do know here where I live, the kids can't play baseball because the baseball bat has been deemed a weapon. Now, when I went to school, which was some years ago, but when I did go to school, my grade 9 school in Renfrew, Ontario, had a gun range in it, where we were free to go downstairs to the gun range, where they had double deck, beds down there and the targets. And the guns were never locked up, and the ammunition was never locked up, and you could go and fill shells if you wanted to, or just use the shells that were there. And the guns were all laying around, and they weren't locked up, and you could, nobody ever shot anybody. Isn't that amazing? But we were encouraged at that time to become good marksmen. in order someday, if somebody came to raid this place, we could defend it. And now the kids can't play baseball because the bat apparently is a weapon. Now, obviously, a baseball bat is more to be contended with than a gun. Wait a minute. In our little high school here, every hour that the school's open, there's an OPP officer wandering around the school with a gun strapped to his hip. Maybe he's afraid of the baseball bat. Maybe that's why they banned it. Who knows? Cutting back on contracting out is the last thing here. The government is committing to annual cuts of $220 million to government advertising, contracted out professional services, and travel. Most of that cut in the first year will come from the use of external consultants, which has ballooned over the last decade. So that's what we got. That's going to be your budget, and it ain't going to do anybody any good. They're also going to start bringing in that guaranteed income, because once everybody's so broke, they can't stay afloat anymore. Well, here's another one here that I didn't see here. Let's see what we got here. This is public transit on sexy infrastructure gets nod in federal budget. How much? What's cooking here? Public transit and unsexy projects like upgrading water systems will get a boost in the Liberals' first wave of infrastructure spending. The Liberals' first budget committed $11.9 billion over 5 years for new infrastructure spending, calling it the first phase of a two-phase push to get $60 billion in new money out the door over the coming decade. Well, if you're just going to shove $60 billion out the door, I think there's a whole bunch of people that could use a chunk of that. Not be put on the hook to pay it back plus interest, but I could actually use some of that. But they got to push it out the door, they say. So they're going to push $60 billion out the door over the coming decade. The bulk of phase one, $5 billion over 5 years, will be spent on unglamorous but necessary upgrades to municipal water and wastewater infrastructure, as well as green infrastructure projects. Now, what they're doing and what they've been doing at the municipal level, and they've been getting some money from the federal level, even though the federal level calls itself a government, the municipalities have been getting some of the gas tax and other monies from the federal government, even though the federal government itself does not recognize municipalities as government. But they're forking money over to the municipalities, who they do not recognize as government. And the municipalities are under provincial, not federal. Yet the feds are shoving money into the municipalities, which they don't recognize as government. They recognize them as a type of business. They're a child corporation created by the provincial government / corporation. So it's your money being used to basically put the international agreements in at the local level. That's all this is about. Now, when they get all of the infrastructure built, or refurbished, or the water sewer up to what they would call snuff, I guess, it will all be sold off. They're already doing it. The municipalities are charging the local body politic, the local corporate body, or body corporate. That's what a municipality is a body corporate. All the inhabitants in the municipality are incorporated, because you were obviously incorporated when you were born and were registered. So you're all corporate entities. You have no say. And they're going to dump all this debt down on you. And then they're going to sell off your infrastructure of what you paid for. Sweet deal if you can get it. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. Boom, 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 boom. What else we got around here? Good news all the way around. Now, I heard there was some bombs went off in Belgium or something. I don't even gonna worry about that. I ain't in Belgium. Here's a Greek story, though, because Greek's been getting screwed with. Let's see. UN agency pulls out as Greece begins arresting refugees. What they ought to be doing is arresting the UN, because the UN is why we have the migrants. Okay, because all of the countries signed on to a migrant treaty. You wonder why your countries are bringing in all the migrants. Well, they signed a treaty. Therefore, they are bound to allow all these migrants in. And where did all these migrants come from? Oh, I don't know. Bomb the shit out of their countries. By mistake? No, on purpose, so they could create migrants. Just a second here. I got a call. We'll see what we got here.
Hello, Ron.
Hello. Who am I speaking with?
This is Alex.
Alex, my good buddy. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing the budget.
Yeah, I've yet to dig into that yet, actually.
It's sweet, man.
Yeah, I'm sure it's wonderful.
Are you working?
Yes, I do work.
You do work? Do you
Full
have any
time,
children?
too.
Do you have any children?
No, I do not.
Well, then the budget is not for you, my friend.
Budget is only for handouts.
You are a white male who doesn't have children, right?
That's right.
I would glue your paycheck to your ass, because otherwise they're going to take it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you, my friend, are on the hook for the infrastructure, and you're on the hook for all the indigenous stuff, and you're on the hook for all the sewer and water, and you're on the hook for the transit. You're on the hook for everything, and you don't get any of it. Okay, if you were unemployed, or let's see, a veteran, or a native, or I guess you're not a lesbian, are you? No. Any of those
no,
things.
I don't think so, no.
No, so we have to build transgender washrooms in all the schools and stuff, and somebody's got to pay for it. And you're a white male without kids, you're on the hook. Enjoy.
Yeah. He's talking about, revitalizing Canada's middle class, if there is such a thing. And I really don't, like you said, I really don't understand what the hell he's talking about when he's just throwing money around to people. I mean, okay, they may have a little bit extra money for a while, but, it just seems to be bent on completely destroying the economy.
Exactly.
Yeah, the exact opposite of what he said he's doing.
Well, yeah, but that's because the boat's upside down, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
So people are going, oh, look at all the free money. Oh, and he wants to help the middle class. And no.
We're so dense here that we believe it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, his resume is he taught snowboarding, and he worked on whitewater, and worked for a whitewater rafting company.
Oh, and he ran Katimavik. I guess that would be the closest thing to politics that he did. It was some sort of it was like a youth organization.
Oh, okay.
I actually can't remember exactly what they did, but he ran that thing for a while. I know that.
Well, that would make him prime minister then.
Program in which those 17 to 21 years of age spend 9 months helping community projects.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah, so that qualifies him, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's as good as anything.
Anybody can be prime minister.
He proves it.
He proves it, yeah.
That's what he's there for.
We're going to spend a third of $1 trillion basically just chucking money at things. We're not creating any work, and the government should never be in the business of creating work, but it should make sure that the atmosphere is there to create work.
And they shouldn't be in the business of sending out all of our jobs halfway across the world, right?
The first thing any legitimate leader of a country would do would be to bring back a tariff on imports. And I've said this for years and years. Like I mean, we made our own shoes here. We made our own appliances here. We made our own furniture here. We made pretty much what we needed here. Why wouldn't we? We have all the resources. But it boils down to this. I mean, if they can make a pair of shoes for $1 in China, and it costs us $5 to make the same shoe here, obviously we cannot be competitive. No matter how hard we try, we can't be competitive. So if you want to be competitive, you got to be like, you don't take a one-legged runner and put him up against the top runner in the world and expect that to be a race. There's no competition there whatsoever. You can't call it a competition. Right.
Yeah.
So this idea that we have to compete in the marketplace is just total fallacy. So we need to make our own shoes. Now you put a $4 thing on that, get a level playing field. Now it's up to you, the manufacturer. If you can't make a decent shoe, okay, then the company that's coming in from offshore is going to sell more shoes than you.
Yeah.
If your shoes are totally ugly, the guy coming in from offshore is going to sell more shoes than you. That's a competition. Okay? This idea of it costs them $1 and it costs us $5 is not a competition. That's simply we ain't going to be working. So instead of working, we're going to take we're going to take a trillion of a third of $1 trillion borrowed money. And that's the federal end of it. That doesn't count any monies that the provinces are borrowing. So, we're going to be $500 billion to $1 trillion borrowed here over the next bunch of years. And what are we going to have to show for it? Absolutely nothing. How do you?
Well, if you add Ontario's debt versus the federal debt, we're basically already $1 trillion in debt.
Well, we are $1 trillion in the hole already before they start this next run on us, right? Well, we don't have 35 million people ain't going to pay back $1 trillion. Not now, not ever. So let's just go get some more, and we'll just throw it at people, and that will make them happy somehow. But you ain't getting any of it, and I ain't getting any of it, right?
No, I don't think I'll see any of it. No, nor do I want any of it.
No, I don't want it.
More importantly,
I don't want it either. Nor do I want to be on the hook for it. Right?
But I mean, he's a very dangerous man, Trudeau, and he's causing a massive amount of conflict in this country. I just spoke with a friend who, and I keep hearing this come up. He basically lost a friend over his position on immigration, right? He basically said, he's concerned about Muslims coming to Canada and trying to change the way we live, right up to our laws and having their own courts and whatnot. And this person called them a racist and a bigot, obviously. This person was just defending his opinion. It got to the point where the chick's boyfriend is threatening him, and his policies and his language are causing so much divisiveness in this country. It's just,
well, actually, that may not be a bad thing. That may not be a bad thing. It's time that we got ugly with one another, really. And I don't mean
I can agree with you on that. Yeah. But
if it brings the discussion forward, this nonsense. I get this stuff all the time online. And I'll get into a discussion with somebody, and when they're not going anywhere, they know they're not going to win at this thing. then oh, you're a racist. It always shows up. You know, they'll discuss stuff for a little while. I haven't said anything racist.
Yeah.
But then they go. You were the one that brought that up, wasn't it? Where they get flustered and they go to their happy place or something. They got this their coloring book, right? When they can't deal with it because they're not they don't have the capacity to deal with it because
when they don't have their safe space, they throw up their smoke screen, right? They call you a racist or a xenophobe or a bigot or whatever, you know. But
and you say to them, could you explain that to me, please? What you just said. What?
How so?
Yeah, they can't.
Oh, I thought you were asking me to explain.
No. When you ask one of these people, could you explain your meaning by what you're saying? And then they what? Well, you just called me a racist and a bigot and everything else. Could you explain why you said that? Well,
see, this is the thing, right? It's this Pavlovian response that people have. And here's the thing, right? I agree with you that it is important that this debate is being had, and you know, for the longest time, Canadians would not open their mouths on this. However, if people are just going to have this Pavlov sort of response to it, I mean, there's not really a discussion being had, right?
No,
it's just going to be name calling and mud throwing, and eventually people, you know, being jailed for thought crime. Basically, it's going to get to the point, and because you can see Trudeau is all for all these radical groups. He's getting them into an hysteria now. I'm sure, you know, because he's a self-proclaimed feminist.
Yeah. But what was that all about? I'll remain a feminist. I will continue to refer to myself as a feminist.
Well, now he's saying that. I saw something, a speech that he made. I can't even for the life of me remember where it was, but his almost exact quote was, "Canadian men better get used to calling themselves feminists."
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
he's dictating to us what we should think and speak about and what we should label ourselves. And
that's the castration of the male. Right.
That's right.
And you know,
that's right. Want to feminize the male and masculinize the female.
Right, exactly. And with all of this, you know, it's the absolute fracturing of society. Society is split into so many groups now. It's ridiculous, right?
Crazy making.
Yeah.
Crazy making.
Yeah, and
gaslighting, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I, you know, I'll never forget the day I opened the door for a woman going into a store, and she yelled at me.
What?
Yeah, this is a few years back, and it kind of threw me a little bit because I open doors for people all the time. I just think why not? You know, I don't want to be a Walmart greeter, mind you, but it just seems, you know, if you're at the door first, then open the door, right? And no, got real screaming at me, right? She's a feminist, and she was put out that I felt that she was so feeble or something that she couldn't open the door.
Jeez.
I said, that thought really hadn't crossed my mind. I just thought it was, you know, a reasonable thing to do. That's all. And and I'm going, damn, you know. And this is what they're doing. This is the fracturing of and these people, they watch TV and they're taught how to act, right? Be it a feminist or someone is gay or someone that's whatever. They just pick a name, pick anything, right? And so it's chaos is what it is. Complete and total chaos.
Oh, it's totally planned like this, right, Ron?
Absolutely.
This is what they want.
Like
this is what they want.
Well, if the society's strong, you wouldn't get away with this nonsense.
Well, we've been totally demoralized, right? That's obvious.
Well, not all of us, but...
exactly.
But again, I think that this... I'm supposed to do a show on Sunday at 6 o'clock, which I'm going to have to cancel because I have to go to Easter dinner. I forgot about it. But he's on the West Coast, and he does a show. And so he asked me if I'd come on next Sunday at 6. And, you know, he's basically saying, he's looking, or he's basically saying the same thing you are, that this Trudeau thing is really causing some problems.
He's designed to.
Yes, it is.
Right, they got all these kids riled up and radicalized in the universities, and now we've got a feminist SJW prime minister. This is dangerous shit.
It is very dangerous.
Seriously dangerous shit.
Yeah, I mean, he's an airhead. I mean, they can put whatever they want in his head. I mean, how can you be? Let me see now. You're a feminist, which really doesn't make any sense because you're supposed to be a male. So I thought only women were feminists, but our prime minister is a feminist. He's pro-Israel. He's pro-UN. He's pro-Islamic State.
He's part of the big club.
He's pro-transgendered, right? He's pro-international.
Everything he's supposed to be doing.
So everything he is everything that this country doesn't stand for.
You know, in that speech that he gave, he actually talked to about how we need to challenge the status quo. I'm thinking, you are the status quo, Justin.
I know.
You are the status quo. It's the same thing with these university students. They think they're radicals. It's hilarious.
They're fools. You know,
they're useful idiots.
Well, they did the same thing with the natives, right? When they did that Idle No More. And, you know, it didn't take, that one took like minutes to track down, right? That came straight out of the UN.
Oh, did it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And
I haven't really looked into that.
Canadians don't just jump up like Idle No More and Occupy. Canadians don't do that. Americans don't even do that. This is all pre-planned nonsense, right? And
a lot of this stuff is coming out of the universities. Yeah, these communist professors are radicalizing people and just sicking them.
Yeah, because you have the Ford, the Carnegie, and the Rockefeller, and any number of tax-exempt foundations now funneling the money into the universities and paying the professors to write papers, because that's where they make a lot of their money, is writing papers, right? Mm-hmm. So they write what they're expected to write for the money. Yeah. And then that goes down to the student body, right? And that's the way they operate. The university is a very dangerous place, extremely dangerous place, right?
If I were there now, I'd be getting the hell out of there, Ron.
In a university?
Because I'd end up, someone would end up at my throat over something, and if I didn't completely keep my mouth shut on everything, that would have been a very nice situation.
I mean, people go to university and now they're afraid to speak unless they're and then you get these radical movements, and anybody that speaks out against that radical movement is verbally put down. Called names, told to shut up. You can't speak, and I don't know why they allow this. I don't mean the university. I mean the other students. You know, I don't know why they turn away from this stuff, right? Well, they're calling us names. We don't want to get them upset or in trouble. Well, you are cowards. In trouble.
They're cowards.
Well, this is the thing, right? This is the thing. We are a nation of cowards. And that goes for the United States, and it goes for Australia, and it goes for Britain, and it goes for anywhere in Europe. They have produced cowards.
Yeah, I mean, and anyone who's going to let their culture and society be destroyed like this is a fucking coward.
Absolutely.
Pardon my language, but
feel free, right? They are cowards, and a nation of cowards is not going to stand long. Okay?
No.
It can't stand.
You just blow them over.
Yeah, and it's like they're taking us down without firing a shot at us.
Yeah, that's right.
It's really pathetic.
There's so many things that Bezmenov said that are just it just ring so true to what we're talking about here.
Those two, like there's certain things that, you know, if you watch and understand, and I mean there's been lots of movies made on the same genre and that, What was New York? What was that? There was a movie. I didn't watch any of these things, but New York was locked down like it was a prison city or something. I forget what the hell that movie was supposed to be called.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't watch much of this stuff, but I think Kurt Russell or somebody was in it. And really dark stuff, right?
Yeah.
And New York is really the poster boy for this. That's where the United Nations is. This is basically where you're going to end up with. I mean, they're putting portable toilets all over because the migrants or whatever just go to the bathroom wherever they want, supposedly. So they want to help them. Don't give them a ticket, right? That's their culture, right? Now, if you come out of a bar and have a whiz up against a tree or something, you're getting a ticket.
That's right.
Because you're supposed to know better, but these people coming in apparently don't know any better, so we must appease them, right?
They just seem to be apologists for anything they want to do. The government just seems to be apologizing for anything they do, anything.
Yeah, and people have to be. I know damn well people are starting to get ticked off, right? And maybe
I'm seeing it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and maybe Trudeau is the wick that starts the fire. I don't know.
Well, it sure as hell seems like it to me because the way things are fitting together right now it's like a beautiful thing in a sense. It's so it's so planned right down to the very last detail.
Mm-hmm. And so
you can't deny that anymore. You just look at what's going on, you see how everything fits together, and I don't know how anyone can deny that.
Yeah, they're taking us down. So the question now becomes, are we going to allow that to happen? And most people up to this point, it's really too bad that people have so little knowledge. I think if people had general knowledge, this would have been stopped a long time ago.
Yeah.
I saw another thing down in the States where they were asking somebody, I don't know what college or whatever they were at there, they're asking students, when was the War of Independence and that? I don't know. And some went like 1967. I mean, it was ludicrous. Like they can get any answers right. Who's the vice president of the United States? These are questions to college or university students in the United States.
Well, they're not taught anything in school but out of authority.
They don't know. They don't
teach you anything of value. No.
And then they started asking them about who's on this show, and everybody got the right answer. Who's Brad Pitt married to? Everybody got the right answer. Who is Brad Pitt's ex-wife? Everybody got the right answer.
That's right. Yeah.
And we wonder why we have a problem.
It's I got some of this stuff from Bezmenov here in front of me. It's something that he said about the Sovietization of the world. Right, we were talking about this not too long ago. What Norman Dodd found out, what the foundations were up to. Bezmenov actually referred to it as the world communist system or the world communist conspiracy.
Well, that's what it is.
It's very relevant to today. Right, back then, it must have sounded ridiculous. That interview was done in '85, but
well, it didn't to a lot of people, right? But the universities is what really messed people up. Okay,
big time.
As they change the direction in the public schools, which takes you to the university, which fills your head with the stuff that's not relevant. This is how they get to where they're trying to get to. People don't have any idea of history, even though the history I was taught wasn't really close to right. It's really bad now.
Yeah,
it is total fantasy land now. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just that progression. I mean, I still wish everybody, especially the Americans, would take the time to go watch that damn series in 1987, from 1987, called America with a K.
Yes.
If you sit through that, you will just look at that and go, we're there. This is where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no different than what Brezhnev said, right? It's the same storyline. It's the exact storyline.
That's right.
Okay, how the schools are feminizing the boys and all the way through this thing. It's identical, and it is the Russian takeover, right? And it's not the Russian I mean, in the movie, it's about Russia, but it's the communist takeover.
The world communist conspiracy.
Right, and that's what they said a long time ago. Dodds was in the 50s, I believe. The Reese Commission was in the 50s.
Oh, yeah.
So people were told straight out at that time what the plan was.
Yeah, well, it takes, Bezmenov said it takes 15 to 20 years to demoralize society. He also said it's going to take 15 to 20 years to reverse that. He said you have to take 15 to 20 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people who'd be acting in favor and interest of their society.
And that's the answer right there. That is the answer.
He said there must be a very strong national effort to educate people in the spirit of real patriotism, number one. Number two, to explain to them the real danger of socialist, communist, welfare state, big brother government, whatever you want to call it. The moment at least part of the United States population is convinced that the danger is real, they have to force their government to stop aiding communism. Obviously, that applies across the board, not just the state.
This is the thing, we got to get the kids out of the school. We got to start new community schools, okay? You can pull your kids from the school. We have got to get the kids out of the schools, okay? Because if we can't get them out of the schools, we're screwed, right? I mean, who has the kids all the time? From the time the kid's 4, now 3 years old in a lot of cases, the state they have your kid basically for its entire waking hours.
Pitting them against you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
and
destroying the family.
Yeah, and so the family has to step forward here, and there's no reason that we can't start, private schools. Get the hell out of the public school system. Start the private school. Get the right information into these people. Show them why we should be manufacturing things in our own land.
Yeah.
And get them some knowledge that's usable. Because it's true, like I tell, people, a lot of people I talk to want this over tomorrow, right? They're fed up, they want it over tomorrow, and I keep trying to explain to them, it ain't going to end tomorrow, okay?
We're talking decades.
It took them a long time to get us here, and it's going to take a long time to rock that boat enough to get it to flip back over where it's supposed to be. So, people have to make a commitment, okay? We either right the ship or we go down with the boat.
Hopefully the former. I want to see the former happen.
Well, I believe we'll do it. I really, truly believe we'll do it. Because with the nonsense that's going on, it's so over the top now, right? Nobody can deny it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And so for that, thank you, Mr. Trudeau, right?
Oh, yeah. The one good thing he's done.
Because he makes a perfect. I mean, if you watch him, he would make a perfect bobblehead to put in the back window of your car.
just tap him on the head.
Yeah.
He'll talk all fucking day.
Anyway, I'm really glad you called in.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you for calling in, Alex. I really appreciate that.
No worries,
hell out of that. Anyways, we'll be back Thursday night, 7 to 8. And I so everybody take care of the kids on we're at it. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids. No one makes gun. Trees laugh to your face.